Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Crossroads. We're beginning a brand new series today called Table Talk. So I hope that you'll enjoy this. It's going to be a really cool deal, interviews with some folks. And you're probably wondering what all the little orange bags are for. These are for kids in the room. So you can use these to help you get through the next few moments in service. And inside the bag is a little card here. There's different things that you can use in there, a snack. There's fidget spinner in there. There's some notes and coloring stuff that you can look at. And they'll be used all kinds of different times during the service. So kind of follow the people here. When they eat their snack, you can eat your snack. Unless you need it for an emergency, eat the snack. When they color, you color. When they play the fidget spinner, you can play with your fidget spinner as well. And that will help kids in the room with that. So we're really excited about what God's going to do here today. You can follow along on the app. If you want to connect to the internet, we'll put that up on the screen there for you to see. You can connect to the Wi-Fi here and use that while you're here this morning as well. You may need to put YouTube or some kids show in front of your kids too. You can use that to do that while we're sitting here as well. But thank you guys for being here this morning. Why don't you guys check out these video announcements.
Hi, I'm Chad. Welcome to Crossroads. Thanks for spending part of your weekend with us, especially if this is your first time. Here's the scoop on some exciting events happening at Crossroads.
When you say yes to the next generation, you say yes to messy, adventure, questions, laughter, and the future. At Crossroads, we believe that providential relationships and personal ministry can work hand in hand. We would ask that you make a commitment for 12 months to serve on any Crossroads team, from greeting to hospitality to nursery and elementary and students. Sundays are important because Monday's coming and we want our families to be ready. If you're ready to say yes, you can sign up in the lobby after each service.
Come join us for Summer Group Connect Nights, starting Wednesday, July 31st from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We will start off with a Cookies and Connect night here at Crossroads. We will watch a video series and break into groups to discuss. Childcare will be provided.
Hey Timothy, I'm so excited. Do you know why?
Yes, because Upward Soccer is about to begin. Registration is now open. Go to crossroads.cc/upward to sign up now.
To make this season possible, we need you.
Our biggest needs are coaches and refs. You will receive training. We will also need concession stand workers and more. Please email upwardsports@crossroads.cc for more info.
My name is Noah Thompson, and as a part of my Eagle Scout project, I'm aiming to help the homeless individuals in our local community. I have learned that the homeless primarily use walking as their main means of transportation, which means they need good foot care and hygiene to get to various services, shelters, education, and even future jobs. So, I'm asking Crossroads for 500 donations of socks, nail clippers, foot powder, and foot cream. You can help by dropping off these donations in the large metal trash can that will be held in the foyer by September 1st. For any additional information, please visit us at operationfootcare.com.
Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, please check out the website or visit us at the welcome desk.
Good morning, Crossroads. It's great to see everybody here this morning. Please stand with us as we worship. Who breaks the power of sin and darkness? Whose love is mighty and so much stronger? The King of glory, the King above all kings. Who shakes the whole earth is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, and you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Who brings our chaos back into order? Who makes the orphan a son and daughter? The King of glory, the King above all kings. Who rules the nations with truth and justice, shines like the sun in all of its brilliance. The King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, and worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, and worthy is the King who conquered the grave. And worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Oh, worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy, worthy, worthy. Oh, this is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. All that you've done for me. You guys can have a seat.
All right, bud. Have a good first day.
Farthest to the top. Probably 3/4 of a mile up.
Over time, The Israelites, who had been spread throughout Babylon and other countries, began to arrive back home and worship God in Jerusalem at the newly rebuilt temple. But the wall around Jerusalem had still not been rebuilt, leaving it vulnerable to an attack. There was an Israelite named Nehemiah who was living in Susa at the time. When he was told that the Israelites were returning to Jerusalem, but there was no wall to protect them, he wept and prayed, asking God to help rebuild the wall. Nehemiah returned to Jerusalem and gathered the priests and officials and told them of his plan. The plan worked, and the wall was rebuilt in only 52 days. Nehemiah wanted to make sure the Israelites were not only safe, but worshiped God with their whole lives. So after the wall was completed, he gathered all of the Israelites, and the priest Ezra read to them from the book of Moses. The people understood that they were not currently living God's ways, so they began to weep. But Ezra stopped them, instructing them to instead celebrate all that God had done and return to God's ways. So the Israelites did what Ezra said and began to party. This went on for several days. A short time after this, God sent another prophet named Malachi to the Israelites. Malachi warned the people of what would happen if they turned from God's ways, but also reminded the people of God's promise to bless Israel and use them to bless the entire world. After Malachi, God did not speak to the Israelites through a prophet for 400 years, but God would not be silent forever.
Hey everybody, how are you? Good? Is this first service or second service? How are you guys doing? All right, there we go. My name is Paul. I get to be one of the pastors here, and we are starting a brand new series called Table Talk, thus the table, and we're going to talk at it. It's a really, I think we stretched really far for the title on this one. Yeah, that was tough. So as I was preparing for this week one, Nehemiah came to my mind. I love Nehemiah. It's one of my favorite characters in the Bible, an incredible leader. So if you're in the military in here, anybody in the military? Yeah, nope. They're in hiding. Shh, no one's in the military. Or parent, everyone's deployed. That's right. Is that time? Yeah. By the way, Garrett, Brigitta, this y'all's last week here? Yes, right here. So sad. Thank you guys so much for all that you've done. Moving to Hawaii, so that's the clapping can be stopped right now. No hating. Okay. So, bring them Chick-fil-A real quick. Someone go out right now. No Chick-fil-A after this. But if you're oh no, it's Sunday. I'm sorry, guys. That was an evil tease. Oh, you're moving to Hawaii. I don't care. Okay. So if you're in the military, you're a parent, you work in a leadership position, you want to do better in school, whatever it is, Nehemiah is your guy. Incredible story about seeing a problem, going through the proper channels to do something about that problem, asking God to intervene and to do something, and in 52 days, rebuilding what people had said never could be done again, rebuilding the walls around Jerusalem again in 52 days. Incredible leadership task that he did. And so today what I'm going to talk about as we kind of jump into all this over the next couple weeks is these 5 ways that we believe that God grows us, and they'll be up on the screen. And we believe that these environments are just opportunities for us to create ways for God to grow you. And this morning we're going to be talking about personal ministry. There's private disciplines and pivotal circumstances and providential relationships. They all start with P, so you can remember them. But really, this is part of our our 7-5-7 strategy. This is the 5. These are the places that we believe that God grows us the most. And so I've invited some people to my table, some friends of mine, and we get to hang out at tables all over the place. And we have conversations just like this all the time, but you guys don't get in on it. So we decided that we were just going to bring a table up here, and we're going to have a conversation, and you guys are just kind of the creepy person at Starbucks that listens, because they're there, right? Because after you have a meeting at Starbucks, someone comes up to you and says, "I couldn't help but overhear." Yes, you could actually help overhear. They're called earbuds or something. So you just be those 100 or 200 creepy people that are going to listen in on our conversation, which is okay. All along the lines of thinking about Nehemiah and how he stepped in, and he said this: "The wall of Jerusalem has been torn down. The gates have been destroyed by fire. When I heard this, I sat down and I wept." So you begin to take that to heart. And so we're going to pass the mic around here. Just a few people. This is something, okay, couldn't do that. Thank you, Dylan, for helping me out with that. But we all have different tables that we meet up at. And this is Dylan, and this is Tiara, and this is Ashley over here. And by the way, we have stuff at our table, and kids, you kind of have some stuff in your bags too. And you'll see them right now. Ashley is doodling something really awesome, and she's going to keep on doodling, and that's okay. And Tiara is going to enjoy herself some goldfish. And so you guys feel free to do that. And then Dylan's kind of got the fidget spinner, and later on, I'll be playing with the fidget spinner too. So just feel free as we're talking. Just make sure you're kind of listening and doing that as well. So we'll be doing alongside you guys as well. Welcome everybody that's also joining us online from all over the place. Thank you so much for joining us. So Dylan, you serve in student ministry.
I do.
And how did you get started serving in student ministry? And tell us a little bit about how you've been able to not just serve on Sundays or Sunday nights, but make that a little bit more personal. And our table is Starbucks.
Yeah,
so
we meet at Starbucks a lot.
While you are talking, I want to enjoy my Starbucks.
You do that. It got started, I had just moved to the area. Coast Guard brought me here, and we were searching for churches, came to Crossroads, and that day happened to be First Steps.
Starting point now?
Yeah. Yep. And you came over and sat with my wife and I, and she was telling me to check off boxes of areas that I think would be fun to, or good for me to be in for ministry. And I checked middle school and high school, and you saw that as an opportunity to say, "Can you do it tonight?" And I said,
"What about tonight?" "What about now?"
"What about can you do it?" Yeah. And naturally being a yes man, I said yes.
That doesn't make me feel better.
No, but it was good.
I thought you really wanted to be there that night.
I did. It was just scary for me. Look, I explained this last time. So, and so we did our whole background investigation, and that night I came in and I was serving that night.
Yeah, we affectionately call this a Dylan and Rebecca around here, which what they pulled off was the most difficult thing to do is to come on a Sunday morning and serve that same day as a background checked volunteer. And they pulled it off. I remember getting your background check in the car. I ran it on my cell phone. I got it back, called them and said, "You guys are good to go." I met you at the door and said, "Hey, this is a test drive, but you're going to be leading with us this week, today." And so incredible. Yeah, it's kind of like an impossible feat that some people have tried to duplicate, but it's been very difficult. It's kind of like the triple Lutz or it's like the perfect 10. But so you guys didn't just stay there, didn't just stay coming on Sunday nights, helping out. I think that night we did foosball and a couple other things, and you kind of jumped right in with Rebecca as well. You didn't just stay there. You kind of expanded that. We've now moved student ministry into homes, and we call them tribe homes. And you guys volunteered last year to be in a tribe home. And tell me a little bit about how that has progressed, and you've opened up your house and your pets and your refrigerator to students.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really fun. It was a challenge at first. There was a lot of fear involved, especially with the fact that I didn't know how many students were going to show up the first time. We had like 17 or 18 students show up, so between 15 and 20 on average. And my house is not that big. So
It's not.
But it's cool. The great thing about teenagers is that they're really good at making themselves at home, so I don't have to play hospitality a whole lot. I mean, I still have to, but they come in and they don't see a couch spot, they grab a pillow. I'm cool with that.
Or
That's
a
great.
floor.
On the floor.
Yeah.
Just take a pillow and put it on the floor, or sit on the coffee table. I don't care. They're very good at they come in, and that's the idea. Is I wanted my home to be open to them, and they don't have to ask for water. They can just go grab water. They don't have to ask to sit, get up, and go walk around. They can just come on in and be a part of the house.
Yeah, I was leading worship last year at one point, and I don't know if Nate Smith's serving, but I showed up to lead worship, and Nate was like on your trees in the back. Like he was sitting on some trees that had fallen. And he's like, I said, is that kind of part of your property? He's like, yeah, sort of.
Yeah,
and so Nate was just like back there, like the house wasn't enough, so he went out and like hung out in the trees. And if you guys know Nate, that's
a wild
him.
man.
He's a wild man.
He wants to go in the woods.
Yeah, he likes to be in the woods. And so, right. And so that's Sunday night, and that was kind of part of a program. But then I've heard like recently, like you've just had some people kind of just coming over to your house, and they've been helping you paint because Dylan and Rebecca, they're expecting a baby coming up in December. Yeah, and so they're getting their house ready to have another occupant. And so you guys are getting ready for that. And how have you kind of incorporated that into what you do in student ministry?
Well, I actually started, must have been 2-3 Sundays ago. I was trying to figure out I was just talking to Mark West about painting the room and how I might, need some help to do that or figure out what I'm trying to do. It's got a lot of work left to do, and he just came up with the idea. He's like, that's what teenagers are for. You just feed them and they do work.
That's what teenagers are for.
And then I took it up to the next step level. I was like, oh, well, they can play Super Smash Bros. When they're done or before.
Yeah.
So I had Aiden and Colin come over, and they came over and helped me prime all the walls, and it was all prepped for them. So we just got in there and did it, and then we played some Super Smash Bros. Afterwards and had food, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Like, and you guys that know once you've started serving, and when it kind of goes to that next level, when you kind of have people who are painting your baby's nursery, like ministry has gone to a different level here. Like this is not like, oh, come over for pizza so I can share the gospel with you, or I can try and get you to come to this next event. It's like these people are like, they're little uncles.
Yeah, they're being part of the biggest life event of my life.
Well, that's kind of scary. It's kind of scary a little bit.
My little brother is 11 years old, so my kid's got to get used to it. It'll be fine.
That's right. So you have 19 to 20-something students in your house on Sunday nights. You have students dropping by the house, just randomly doing things, randomly climbing your trees, which is all good. So would you say that the student ministry to you has become more personal? Is it something that is now your personal ministry, or is it just something you serve in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I live in that home, and I own that home. So when a ministry enters my house, you got to get a little bit of ownership over it. You kind of take things that are going on in it, and you bring it in, and you make it a part of your personal life. And you let them come in, and they get to see your home the way it is. They get to see you as not just somebody that that comes and talks to them at church. They get to see you as a real person in your own environment, and then they get to be a part of that, which makes it so much more personal.
Yeah, because we all know that what happens here, right? We try and be as real as possible, but where does the real stuff happen, right? Happens at tables and stuff just like this. Many of us have these tables tucked away in our house, and it's not the dining room table, right? It's that table that that has all the mail piled on it. You know what I mean? Does anybody have that table at your house? Why is that where people want to hang out? Like I'll come home sometimes, there'll be people at my house, we'll be all in the kitchen on this one embarrassing table that has the leaf all kind of coming down, that has like bananas and mail on it, and there people are huddled around there. But it's in the most innermost sanctum of my house, right? It's like that place where personal stuff really happens. It's in the nursery, up in the corner where like really some of the greatest things can happen. Thank you so much, Dylan, for sharing. Y'all give him a hand, it's okay. Some people are really nervous up here. Here's your fidget spinner back. All right. So this is Tiara. And I got our table was a table in Nicaragua that looked nothing like this table. The table that we hung out at had rice and beans on it.
Yes.
And it had like plantain chips, and it had that yummy juice in the morning. I'm not quite sure exactly what we had. And fruit. What was that fruit that you were always after? Was it always the
pineapple?
Always the pineapple. And if you didn't get, if it wasn't her, it was Ethan.
Yes.
Stealing all the pineapple. And I was like, so you have to get there early to get the pineapple. So we hung out at a table, with maybe doing this a little bit with flies. But some incredible conversations started to come out of that time. And then the other table that I think about with us is the table in the airport in Nicaragua. We found a little restaurant, and Tiffany was there, and Deb was there, and Amber. And we just were like, let's just go for it. Let's get some food. And Tierra ordered fettuccine Alfredo in Nicaragua. And I was thinking like, girl, this is not good travel food. And then Amber ordered ceviche, which is like fish that's raw, that's cooked in like lime and lemon juice, right? And I'm like, that's not good. And then I think Deb and Tiffany both got nachos. I don't know what else you got. You got something else.
Good.
And they were like, this is so good. I was like, let's just go for it. Let's go for it. And I remember like in the joy of that, starting to talk about some things, other things that kind of bring a lot of joy to your heart, and that is child sponsorship. And so you guys have, can I say a little cray-cray about, you go cray-cray for some kids. And when I sent you the email about this, you're like, anything for my babies.
Yes.
The email comes back, I'll do anything for my babies, exclamation point, like 1,000 of those. And we know that, and I've seen that. And so tell us a little bit about your personal ministry, what's become personal to you, child sponsorship in Nicaragua.
So my family and I have come to this church about 15 to 20 years now, and it's always been a bit of a home base for me. So as life happens, it kind of moves you around. And this most recent time coming back was right when they were really pushing the For Nicaragua mission. And I would come one Sunday and kind of just listen, and then I'd come the next time, and I'd really start to listen to what they were saying. And by the third or fourth time, I just had to do something. I had to get involved. So I thought mission trips might be a little bit too big to start with. Let me start with the sponsorship. And let me tell you guys, that has changed my entire life, my entire focus, everything. And so we went to an info meeting about the mission trip, and they mentioned that if you're on one of these trips, you can meet the very children that you sponsor. And that was just like, what? Like, I couldn't even believe that we had that opportunity. So my mom and I both instantly sign us up, just sign us up. And we weren't really in any position to come out of pocket all this money for this trip, but we knew that we had this will in our heart and the Lord would make a way. And he made a way for us to go twice to Nicaragua in this past year through fundraisers and through all of your support and through the parents at our center. And that was the start of an incredible journey.
Yes, and so I didn't go on the first trip that you guys went on to Nicaragua. I got to go on the second one. Yes. And so when you go to Nicaragua a couple times, they remember you. I think they remember you if you go once, but they start remembering. So I hear people talking about Deb and Tierra and all this stuff, and I didn't realize like what you guys are doing. Be honest with everybody, how many kids are y'all sponsoring? Okay, like let's just talk about it.
We sponsor probably 5 to 6 children.
5 or 6 kids. Okay, so like I started hearing of like one, and then I would go to another place and like, like I heard stories about you guys there. I'm like, that's another person. And so a really cool, incredible story that happened in Nicaragua this last time is that like we're in the way out. Like the way out. I think Nikhil is with us out there too, some other people. And we're out there so far, there's like cows and goats and stuff. And like, I remember there was a big herd of cows, and we're like, what are we gonna do here? And I was like, I guess they're just gonna have to move. I mean, the cows will just have to move. That was a joke. It didn't work in first service either. It didn't. I can't believe I did that again. So we're out there, and we're going through the cows and stuff, and we find this home, which eventually we're going to be building them a home. We're sending money, or already sent money down to build this family a home, and like all these kids start coming out. And I'm like, are all these kids yours? And like, yeah, but these aren't all. There's more. Like, but wait, there's more. And there's like 9 kids who lived in this house, and there's 4 there, and we'll put pictures of them on social media later. So check out our Facebook page and Instagram for that. But I find out that a child here is sponsored by somebody in our church. They're like, Crossroads. Like, we love you. And we're like, we love you too. Like, that's nice. And like, no, like you help us, like you give us food, like you make it happen for us. And come to find out, I get back on the bus and I'm like, kind of like missing child. I'm like, who do these kids belong to? Like, who is this kid? And I kind of turn over and Tierra like freaks out. She's like, that's one of my babies. Like, that's one of my kids. And like, she hadn't found them there in Nicaragua yet. And ended up getting to go back and see them again. And it was incredible. And like, they live way, way out. And to know that we're building them a house and that their kids are going to get sponsored and taken care of, it's incredible. So that was an incredible story. They're just about one of their kids. And then I'll kind of steal some of that back from you. But then a few weeks ago, I walk into the GOC, is what they call it, the Garden of Children, their daycare center, child care center that they run over in Newport News, Denby area. And I see on the wall all these faces of children, like sponsorship cards from Nicaragua. And I'm like, I know they didn't just merge this into their business. And I was like, it's funny that when personal, it gets personal, you start getting into people's business, right? You get their business becomes your business, and then now tell us how you merged all that business into your actual business.
So we have merged. We have tried to put Nicaragua in everything that we do. So now at the Garden of Children, we have a coffee station where we only brew Nicaraguan coffee. And I will slide in that it is ethically sourced, never from slave labor or child labor, which is something to be celebrated.
Yes.
Celebrated.
And you can get some now,
yes,
right out those
right,
doors.
You can. So get yourself a bag. It's absolutely delicious. My mother has 3 cups a day, so it's delicious.
Let's talk about that later.
Yes. We also do many, many paint nights where we involve our staff and the families from our center to come out and dance to some Nicaraguan music, eat some Nicaraguan food, paint some Nicaraguan art, and all of those proceeds go to Nicaragua. And then we also have the sponsorship board that Paul mentioned, where the parents can look at these faces and just see who still needs us to step in and make a difference. So even our parents come into the daycare, our Spanish-speaking families, and they will only speak to us in Spanish because they are helping us learn Spanish for our next trip. So everyone is involved now, and it's just a great thing.
So this isn't just something that you do on Sundays, I would say.
Yep.
It's something that's kind of like seeped into the rest of your life. So thank you so much for sharing with us. Now, Ashley.
Hello.
That's beautiful, what you just drew there. That's really nice.
Thank you.
Okay. So Ashley serves in Kids Men. And so tell us a little bit about you starting off in Kids Men and how that got started for you.
Okay, well, I guess I've always wanted to serve, but I really got started serving in the nursery when I was in Alaska. But I'm only 13, and I was really young, and that was a while ago, so I didn't really know what I was doing.
Back when you were 8?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Way so far ago.
Yeah, so now... Stop.
These are how most of our conversations go, by the way. By the way, yeah, while you compose yourself, our table is Sweet Frog. So we like to hang out at Sweet Frog. We're not sponsored by Sweet Frog, but we should be.
Yeah, we should be.
Table Talk brought to you by Starbucks and Sweet Frog in Nicaragua. But we found, and sometimes we've been there in good times, and sometimes we've been there in bad times. But we've always found that if it's a good time or a bad time, it's always a good sweet frog time. And you can just put some of that sweet frog with some brownie bites or whatever, just shove in your mouth and you're crying. It's okay. And that's how we do things, right?
Yes.
And so that's our table.
Okay.
So fast forward after you're 8, you're here now, and you're like, man, I can't believe that I can actually just jump in and serve, even being 13.
See, when I came here, I was like, oh, I'm probably going to be too young. There's probably an age limit. And then when in youth group one time, when you guys started talking about serving, I asked if I could serve in the nursery. And you were like, yeah. I was like, well, then can I serve in the nursery? And then you said you have to talk to Amber. I was like, well, who's Amber? And you're like, you showed me to her. She made me feel really comfortable about all the serving stuff. And I served the first time, and I absolutely loved it. The babies I served in a nursery, of course, because babies are cute and adorable. But, and I absolutely loved it, and then I've been serving ever since.
So you like the babies?
I love the babies.
Yeah. And you said first service you started to like even learn all their names and stuff.
I know almost
cool.
every baby's name by heart.
So that's not, just you show up and you get a roster and you're like, oh, I'm taking care of this baby today. Like you're actually looking and hoping that they might come. And actually in between services, we actually moved the nursery, by the way, this week.
Out.
And she's like, where's the nursery? What have you done? Gotten rid of the nursery? Like, we didn't get rid of it. We just moved it, relocated it. And she's like, I have to go see my babies. She's going back there because she's up here today and you're not serving back there. You're kind of missing that a little bit today. Sorry. But so what does a Sunday look like for you when you're serving? Like, what did it look like before and what might it look like now?
Well, when I wasn't serving, all I would do was sit in the crowd and I would listen to the sermon and I would take in stuff. But now I realized when I'm serving with those babies, I'm also giving God's love just as I'm taking God's love, and He's giving it to me, and I got to give it back to the babies because they're so cute.
Preach, girl. Preach, man. So what's your favorite part of serving in Kid Men? The babies.
Babies. I mean, I started getting into, childcare, and I mean, they're a little bit older. They're about toddlers, and I mean...
They're sassies. That's what you're trying to say. They got a little sass to them.
Babies are a little bit more chill, and...
But what about diapers?
No.
Diapers don't scare you?
No.
Because the love in your heart...
Gotta love them through the tough times,
The love, I was trying to get you to say that the love overflows. I was kind of leading that.
Oh my gosh.
The love, their love in their diaper, it's just overflowing, and it overflows on you, and that's okay.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So anybody scared of that out here, it's okay. It's love. Love.
It's just love.
Yeah, love, yeah. It's just love in the diaper. So we're going to kind of go back around now. So how, if you were to say anything to anybody out here, as a 13-year-old who's up here on stage, by the way, which is amazing, because 13-year-olds can do anything that adults can do. Did you know that? Except for drive.
Yep.
And vote.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other things. There's a lot of other things. But at this church, you can serve anywhere as a 13-year-old, and that's pretty incredible. And so what would you say to people that aren't even 13? They might be old like me, and they're not serving, and they're kind of on the fence. Why make it personal? Why not just show up and get your coffee and listen to the sermon and leave?
Well, serving, if you're going to serve the first service, you got to get up earlier and you got to sacrifice your sleep, which is very important. But I think it's worth it because I get to come here and be with these children. And when you serve, you get to, when you serve in the kids ministry, you get to have a personal relationship with them and like treat them like your own. And it's really a special experience with God and with them. And I've honestly gotten to be so close with some of the babies. I treat them like they're my younger brother or sister because I love them so much. And that's really the special part about serving in kids ministry, is that special bond that you have with the kids.
And especially when they show up today and like, but I don't get to hang out with you. It's like,
I know.
oh, I'm so sorry. All right, Tiara, if we could ask you, like, maybe I'm on the fence. Maybe I'm like, I want to get involved with child sponsorship. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, if I should do it or not. What would you say to people out there to get involved?
I would say a couple things. First and foremost, if you are on the fence, come talk to any one of us. You'll see these blue shirts sometimes. You'll see my Nicaragua team. If you can raise your hand, there's a couple people that you can find. Yes, Nakia being one of them too. Come talk to any of us. We love to talk about our time in Nicaragua and to get you all excited and to help you guys get started, because I know it can be nerve-wracking. I will also say to visit the ccm.life website, because you can scroll through all of these faces that still need sponsorship. And we often talk about the good times that we have in Nicaragua. We don't often talk about the things that break our heart, one of which is the 600 little eyeballs that are looking at you like, what about me? Are you going to save me too? And we ourselves can't do it all, but we as a church can. And it's such an incredible thing to see less and less of those little faces on that website. So check it out, pray about it, and we look forward to seeing some new faces on our Nicaragua team.
Yes, absolutely. Dylan, so there's lots of places you can serve, by the way, and I'm not just saying these are the only places that you can serve, or I just get to talk about personal ministry and making it personal. And I try to find some people that have made it personal in their own lives. So what would you say? How can people in general, wherever they serve, how can they begin to make things just a little bit more personal?
I think not only serving the students or the children or the babies that you're working with while you're here on Sundays, but also serving their families, making a personal connection with the parents or the other brothers and sisters, and just jumping right in with it. Don't hesitate. And then, if I can do it, introvert, you can do it. Just jump in and talk to them, and maybe go out and help them move some furniture one day. Whatever their needs are, it doesn't take much. Just get in there and step up for the family as well.
Do not be afraid to just let them see your mess too.
Yeah. Let them in your home. Let them see all the cat fur that you can never get rid of.
All this time I've been cleaning up my cat fur before you came. I don't have a cat anyway, but just the fur. Now I can just leave it out when you come over. But I just want to remind you guys where we started, in this idea of Nehemiah and how he saw something that broke his heart. And I remember when Tiara was talking, it just kind of came to my mind when she was scrolling through. It's kind of like, what if Nehemiah was today and he was scrolling through and he saw something that broke his heart? Nehemiah 1, he said, then I heard this and I sat down and I wept. When's the last time, knowing that we had all these different areas in our church that are going unserved, when's the last time that we all sat down and we wept about it? When's the last time that it really impacted us? And so when we ask to serve here, and other people are going to talk about other things in the next couple weeks, but when we talk about serving, we're not asking you just to fill a spot. We're not asking you just to show up. Now that's part of it, right? And show up on time. We're asking you to be yourself and to take it personally, because we believe that God uniquely created you to do something special in the life of somebody else. And that you've got love welling up inside of you, and that we're hoping that that love will just cause you to do something. And when you do that with somebody else, and that's going to cause love to well up inside of them as well. So you don't have to be like a super trained superhero with a cape to serve here, right? Anyone can serve here. All I have to do is pass a background check. And even with a background check, we're not looking for everything. We're just looking for basic crimes against children. So even if you've done some stuff that you're not super proud of, we can give you a second chance here as well. But we just want you to be you in the life of somebody else. And so I thought it would be really great to end today, our time before worship, with a message from the president. So check this out. The kid president.
There are lots of ideas how you can change the world. Some people think you should just complain about it. That won't change the world, it'll just make it bad. Some people think you have lots of money, making it rain everywhere you go. Holla for $1. Some people think you have to be really loud and yell a lot. It's like with a bullhorn shouting, "Hey you, yeah you, do it my way right now, you heard?" Other people choose to just make fun of everything. That's dumb, everyone's dumb. It's easier to make fun of stuff, but it's cooler to make stuff. Some people think changing the world can only be done by the smartest person in the world. Just put them in a room, let them figure it out. The solution of world hunger? Food. Wow, that was like so amazing. Some people see the bad in the world and they just decide to ignore it, but that won't help anything. Some people think you have to be really famous and super cool. In fact, lots of people think you have to be really powerful to make a difference, like being mayor or senator or president. But the truth is, a title doesn't make you more important. The world is changed by you. It's one person filled with love. And they just have to live it out, so they do something awesome. Then that person is filled with love, and they do something awesome. It just goes on and on and on and on. And the next thing you know, everything's awesome. Some people think it's impossible to change the world.
It's impossible to change the world.
Well, you can see why they could think that. Living in the world with kids who are hungry, people who are homeless, families weren't happy. I'm just trying to figure it out like everybody else, man. I do know this, though. Next time you feel overwhelmed or totally alone, remember this. Things don't have to be the way they are. The world is changed by ordinary people. Little people living out big love. And that's what gives the world a reason to dance. So, how do we change the world? At the start of this year, I asked all you guys to make the year more awesome. Time to be awesome now! To make this year awesome for somebody else. Whether it's helping the homeless with Stoptober, throwing a parade for somebody, or giving an inspired gift. You can see my holiday gift guide by clicking here. You help prove that the internet can be an awesome place. Thank you, but we're not done yet. This coming year, let's show the world what awesome really looks like.
Soul Pancake, subscribe.
I love. Oh man, me and this little desk have been through a lot. We've been quite on a really big adventure, oh boy. It's just keep falling. We need a new tab. Is that good? Love changes everything, so fill the world with it.
Would you stand and worship with us?
gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Old things have passed away. Your love has stayed the same. Your constant grace remains the cornerstone. Things that we thought were dead are breathing in life again. You cause your sun to shine on darkest nights. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be our anthem song. Jesus, we love you.
thank you for being with us this morning. And I know that was a little different than maybe what you're used to, but just so impressed with the stories and those that came and shared their stories. I see a 13-year-old girl sharing her story, and Tiara was earlier this morning. She was over here doing stretches, and like there was nobody else in the room. I'm like, "Are you okay, Tiara?" She's like, "I am nervous." And I said, "You'll do fine." And Dylan, I appreciate you. And we'll have some other stories that we'll be sharing over the rest of the month. So I hope you'll join us for that. And you have a story too, and we'd love to hear your story. And the orange cards are there in front of you. Share your story with us. We'd love to hear it. We share those in our staff meetings and just kind of celebrate the stories and what God's doing here. So feel free to write on that and drop it in the boxes as you go out the door. Check your app before you go as well, or throughout the week. There's lots of stuff going on there. One of the things that I'm really excited about is we're going to be doing the back to school night for Dare Elementary School, our neighbor, on August 28th. So we want to be for our neighbors. They're our neighbor. So we're going to be doing that. We talked to the school, the PTA there, and they said, we try to do this event every year. We try to get teachers to help, but they can't because they got to be in the classroom. We try to get parents to help, but they want to walk with their kids. And I said, why don't you let us do it? And they just like floated out of here. They're like, yes. And so we're just going to go over there and let them do their thing. We're gonna do the back to school night for them. And you can sign up to help for that. If you go on the app, you just click under events. You'll see the back to school night there, and you can actually fill out the form saying, I'd like to help with that. We'd love to have your help doing that. Thank you guys so much for being here. Continue to give strongly. You guys are an amazingly generous church, so continue to give. You can do that on the app, on the boxes in the back, or on the website. So thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you all next week.